Another fallacious argument advanced in support of the above view is that devotion we practice with any particular object in view is far from being nishkama, desireless. The theory of nishkama upasana or desireless devotion as laid down in the Krishna in the Gita emphasizes upon us to practice devotion without keeping in view any specific purpose. It really means that we should practice devotion without our eyes being fixed upon any worldly object or without caring for the satisfaction of our desires. It does not stop us from fixing our mind upon the goal of life, which is absolutely essential for those on the march. So, Nishkama Karma doesn't mean to say that you should not have the goal. Nishkama Karma only means that you should not fix your attention on worldly object or for the satisfaction of our desires. So, for example, when Krishna fought the Mahabharata war, Arjuna said, I don't want to fight. Then, if you say, you fight for the sake of fighting, Arjuna said, I don't want to fight. Krishna said, you please fight. Then, if he says, it's because it is Niskama Karma, duty for duty's sake. That means fight for fight's sake. Not to win, but fight for fight's sake. Can you think of that? You go on fighting without actually wanting to win. That is not Nishkama Karma. He never said that. In fact, when Arjuna is playing like a toy with Bhishma, Krishna gets angry. What are you doing? Now, does it mean to say that Krishna had any kama, desire in mind? No. A universal cause to fight for is a worthwhile goal to keep in mind while doing the activity. So you should not fight for individual desires. When you are fighting for a larger cause, that goal is important. You don't fight for the fight's sake. You fight for a cause. But the cause should not be selfish in nature. The cause should be universal in nature. That is what it means. Nishkama karma means not that you should not have a goal. You should have a goal. But the goal should be universal in nature and not individualistic or selfish in nature. Clear? Otherwise, if you say duty for duty's sake, that's like saying Krishna told Arjuna, fight for the sake of fight only, not to win the war. Every other thing that Krishna does in the Mahabharata war is to make the Pandavas win, no? But he did not make Pandavas win for the sake of his selfishness. He wanted Pandavas to win because it's good for the earth, good for administration, good for the people. Only for that reason, he actually supported the Pandavas, not because he liked the Pandavas. In fact, he liked the Pandavas because they are on the right side of Dharma, not otherwise. So, when you are fighting, you need to fight for a universal cause. There should be a goal, a larger goal, not a selfish goal. The trouble is, most of the people fight wars for selfish purpose. All the kings used to fight war for a selfish purpose, for the sake of occupying their kingdom, enlarging their kingdom. In that way, Rama did not fight for any kingdom. In fact, Vibhishana comes and Rama actually wins over Lanka, but he actually gives it back to Vibhishana and comes back. He doesn't own it. Right? Now he makes an agreement with Sugriva. Rama doesn't rule over Kishkinda. He only makes friends with Kishkinda and then he helps Kishkinda, Sugriva win Kishkinda. But he does not rule it. He gives it back to Sugriva for ruling it. Can you see? Rama also fought the war, but he fought the war for a larger purpose, not for any selfish end. That is what is the meaning of Nishkama Karma. Nishkama there is not having a goal. Nishkama there means having a larger goal than what is selfish in nature. That is what you are looking at. Clear? Otherwise, if Krishna had told Arjuna, go on fighting for the sake of fight, without an end to the fight, Arjuna also will go on fighting. Bhishma anyway had the vara that he is not going to be killed by anybody. He'll also keep playing like a toy. Arjuna also will keep playing like a toy. Nobody would have won. The war would continue forever. Because on that side, Bhishma will not die. On this side, Arjuna will not lose. So either of them will not stop fighting. So the fight will continue forever. So that is not Nishkama Karma. So a lot of people have actually understood Nishkama Karma as a wrong thing, as a thing that there is no goal. No, Nishkama Karma does not prevent you from having a goal. But the only thing is the goal should be larger in nature, universal in nature. It cannot be selfish in nature. When we say selfish, it cannot be confined to the body and mind. So when I say universal, when you are actually growing in consciousness, you are growing towards universality. A spiritual goal is never selfish in nature. A spiritual goal is always universal in nature. That is what it means. That's all. Okay. Now, the goal of life means nothing but the point we have to finally arrive at. It is, in other words, the reminiscence of our homeland or the primal state of our present solid existence, which we have finally to return to. It is only the idea of destination which will keep in our mind, alive in our mind, and for that we practice devotion only as duty. Duty for duty's sake is without doubt Nishkam Karma, and to realize our goal of life is our bounden duty. Beautifully put here. Duty for duty's sake is fine. But what is our primary duty? The primary duty of every soul is to realize the goal of life. If that being the case, you should actually be bound by the duty. In other words, the entire life you should be led by the duty only. Duty for duty's sake. But what is the duty? Nobody asked this question. What is the duty? Duty of every human being who is born is to realize the goal of life. And the goal of life is to realize oneself. Anyway, now I come to the point of what the real goal of life should be. It is generally admitted that the goal must be highest. Otherwise, progress up to the point, final limit is doubtful. For this, it is necessary to have a clear idea of the highest possible limit of human approach. We have therefore before us the examples of Rama and Krishna, the two incarnations of divinity. We worship them with faith and devotion and want to secure union with them. Automatically, then that becomes our goal of life, and we can, at the utmost, secure approach up to their level. Whichever God you worship, whatever their level of approach is, we can go to that level only. We cannot go beyond. So, if somebody has read till BSc, if we take them as our teacher, as our goal, we can go up to BSc. Now, we cannot get teaching from them about MSc and PhD from them because they themselves don't know. Right? Likewise, whichever God you take as the final goal, whatever is their level of approach, to that extent we can progress. We cannot go beyond that. Now, Rama and Krishna as incarnations were special personalities vested with supernatural powers to work as a medium for the accomplishment of the work which nature demanded and for which they had come. They had full command over the various powers of nature and could utilize them at any time in the way that they thought proper. The scope of their activity was limited in accordance to the nature of the work they had to accomplish. So they descended from the sphere of Mahamaya, which is the state of the godly energy in the subtle form, hence the most powerful. It is due to this fact that we find excellent results coming into effect through their agency in their lifetime. The highest possible point of human approach is much beyond the Mahamaya, hence a good deal above that level. It may be surprising to most of the readers, but it's a fact beyond doubt. So we are not aiming to go to Mahamaya. That is not our destination. Our destination is to go beyond Mahamaya to Adi Maya and then beyond to the center itself. That is our destination. So Ramakrishna came from the realm of the Mahamaya. We are going back to the realm of the Adi Maya and beyond. Okay. So if we take Rama and Krishna, the goal that we are going to set for ourselves will be way below where we have to go. That's why we don't take Rama and Krishna also as our goal in our system. Does it make sense? Now, the final point of approach is where every kind of force, power, or activity, or even stimulus disappears and a man enters into a state of complete negation. Nothingness or zero. This is the highest point of approach or the final goal of life. I have tried to express it by the diagram. The concentric circles drawn around the center C roughly denotes the different spiritual spheres we come across during our progress. Beginning our march from the outermost circle, we proceed towards the center, crossing each circle to acquire the next stage. It is a very vast expanse. So each circle is a sphere of spirituality, one level of consciousness. You keep crossing circle after circle. But then, if you just look at the circle, you can go around the circle infinitely. You can go round and round in any circle. There will be movement in the individual, but they will be moving along the circle only rather than crossing the circle. So the direction of movement is what is important. So our orientation should be towards the goal, towards the center. Then the direction of movement will be correct. If our direction of movement is wrong, we will go around the circle in every sphere or every point. If I speak of liberation, people think it is a very far off thing which can be achieved by persistent efforts for a number of lives. In the diagram, the state of liberation lies between the second and the third circles. So outermost circle is there, no? The dark circle, that's the first circle, outermost. Then the second dark circle is the second circle. Then the third dark circle is the third circle. So liberation is between the second and the third circle. Second and the third dark circles. I think if you keep that in mind, it will be clear for you. Second and the third dark circles. So outermost circle is the first point. The second circle, the second dark circle is the sixth point. And then the third dark circle is the entry of the central region. Is it clear? So liberation is between second and third circles, the dark circles, not the lighter circles. So if you look at it, from the outermost dark circle to the second dark circle, there are 5 rings. That is the 5 points of ego in the Maya Pradesh, Pinda Pradesh, Maya region of the Maya, Pinda Pradesh. 5 circle, 5 points. Then if you go from the second dark circle to the third dark circle, there are 11 circles. That is the circles of ego. Then when you go towards the central region, the third dark circle is the entry of the central region. If you count there, there are 7 circles. They are the 7 rings of splendor. Okay. Now the various conditions we have to pass through in order to secure liberation are all acquired within about a circle and a half. This may help the reader to form a rough idea of what still remains to be achieved after we have reached the point of liberation, which really, as commonly believed, is not an ordinary achievement. After achieving this, we go on further, crossing other circles till we cross the first one. This is the state of Avyakta Gati. For this state, at this stage, a man is totally free from the bounds of Maya. So, when you come to the 5th point, you are at the realm of the Avyakta Gati. At this stage, the man is out of the bounds of Maya. Very few sages of the past could reach up to this position. Raja Janaka was one of those who could secure his approach to this state. His achievements were considered to be so great that even the prominent rishis of the time used to send their sons and disciples for him for training. The region of the heart, as described in my book, The Efficacy of Raja Yoga, is now crossed, and now we enter the mind region after crossing the fifth circle. The 11 circles after this depict the various stages of the ego in the mind region. The condition there is more subtle and grows finer still as we march on through the region. By the time we reach the 16th circle, we are almost free from egoism. The conditions of this stage is almost inconceivable and has barely been attained by even the greatest of the sages. As far as my vision goes, I find among the ancient sages none except Kabir who could have secured his approach up to this stage, the 16th circle. What remains when we have crossed this circle is a mere identity which is still in the gross form. We now enter the central region. That's why I said the third dark circle, no? That is the entry into the central region. We now enter the central region. There too you will find 7 rings of splendor. I may call it light for the sake of expression, which we cross during our march onwards. The form of dense identity, as I have called, grows finer and subtler to the last possible limit. We have now secured our approach position, which is nearmost to the center, and it's the highest possible approach of man. There we are in close harmony with the very real condition. Complete merging with the center is, however, not possible so as to maintain a minimal difference between God and man. Such is the extent of human approach, achievement, which a man should fix his eyes upon from the very beginning if he wants to make the greatest progression on the path of realization. Very few among the saints and yogis of the past would ever have had any conception of it. Their farthest approach in most cases had been up to the second or the third circle at the most. It is unfortunate that even at this preliminary stage, they sometimes consider their achievements to be very great. I have given all this only to enable people to judge those so-called great doctors of divinity who are said to have attained perfection and generally accepted as such by the ignorant masses who judge their worth only by their outward form or elegance. ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಇದೆಯಾ? I think I've probably covered it most of the things in other discussions. The first 5 points is the 5 points of the ego, that is the heart region. Once you come into the fifth point, you are in the region of the Avyakta, as far as individual soul is concerned. Again, don't confuse with the Avyakta of the Brahman. This is Avyakta of the individual soul. So you come into the Avyakta Gati, and then from there you go into the next stage, which is the mind region, where there are 11 rings of or circles of ego. Now, after crossing the 11 circles of ego, you enter the dark circle, the third dark circle, which is the entry into the central region. There again 7 rings are there. They are the 7 rings of splendor. And then after crossing the 7 rings of splendor, you align to the center, the nearmost, in the closest possible way. That is the highest approach for a human being. And there you lay there some semblance, nominal difference is maintained between God and man. So full merger into the center doesn't take place till Mahapralaya. At the time of Mahapralaya, that semblance of nominal difference which is there is removed, and this soul now merges into the Supreme Soul at Mahapralaya. So what happens to those souls who are not reached that stage till Mahapralaya? So some say soul is at the 8th point and Mahapralaya happens. Then what happens to that soul? The soul will be there in close alignment with the center during the phase of dissolution. So after the time of dissolution is over, then when the time for the next creation comes, at that time this soul will descend again. So that semblance of difference or the nominal difference between the soul and God and man is not withdrawn in the case of the souls which have not achieved that state. It's only withdrawn in the case of those souls which have achieved that state, close alignment with the center, so they merge back into the center. But in the case of the souls which have not secured approach till then, the semblance of difference is maintained. When it is maintained, that becomes the seed for the next creation. Does it make sense? I want to ask something, Ganeshan.
Yeah, brother. Can we relate this with the points? Like you said, the first five is the fifth point. The third dark circle will be under which point?
From the point of view of points, no, the four circles of ego are related to 6, 7, 8, 9 circles and the points. So from the 10th point onwards up to the 13th point, you have the next 7 rings of ego. So 6, 7, 8, 9 is one ring of ego each, one circle of ego. From the 10th point up to the 13th point, you have the 7 circles of ego. So 7 plus 4, 11. That's how it is. So if you want to combine the rings, the circles with the points, this is how it is. 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th is one circle of ego. 10th to 13th is 7 circles of ego. So that's how you correlate between the circles and the points.
And there is one more point. There we are in a close harmony with the very real condition. Complete merging with center is, however, not possible so as to maintain a nominal difference between God and soul. This I want to relate to the message which Master gave in Bandara, which he says the journey starts after merging. What is the difference between these two?
I've given clearly the example, the explanation. When does the merger occur? What did I say? When does the merger occur?
Mahapralaya.
At the time of Mahapralaya, merger occurs. So then, what is supposed to happen to these souls which are now in close alignment to the center? What are they supposed to do? They will lead what is called as real life. That is what is the Bandara message. What happens to the souls which have now achieved the merger? Merger means complete merger is not possible till Mahapralaya. Now that is taken. That is the background. But these people have gone close to the center. What are they supposed to do then? These souls. So they lead a new life, and that life is called as real life. What is real life? Real life is life led by reality, in close alignment to reality. That is real life. So till what time do they lead real life? Till Mahapralaya. At the time of Mahapralaya, that difference is withdrawn and they merge back. So the real life ends there. Till that time, suppose somebody who has a body, like Babuji, had achieved close alignment to the center very early in his age. By 44, 45, he had already been aligned to the center very closely and absorbed the essence of the center a lot. Then what to do? What did Babuji do here on earth? He led a real life. After shedding the body here, what is he doing now? He is leading a real life. So they continue to lead real life. Now that life which continues after you have secured the utmost nearness to the center is what is called as real life. Then you might ask, what is their job? Their job is to help other souls come back to that, come up to that level. That's all their job is. That's why I told you one day that none of us will be unemployed. So don't worry. Even after the body has been shed, all of us will be employed fully. Don't worry. And there is no holidays also. I'm warning you. Whatever sick leave you have to take, you take it here only. There are no sick leaves, there are no paid leaves. It is only work, work, work. That's all. So better get used to it now itself. ಭರತ್ ನಿಂಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಿರೋದು, no sick leave, no paid leave. So all the souls which evolve to the closest to the center have a job to do. Their job is to get other souls to that level. That's what they are working. All the hierarchy of Master, Vivekananda, Krishna, they're all working towards that end only. To get more and more souls from wherever they are, at whatever level they are, back to its origin. All liberated souls have only one job, to do this. And they can choose. Some of the souls which are highly evolved can move up and down the ladder and do the work. Some of the souls who are not so highly evolved can work in a particular sphere. That's all. Beyond that, they cannot go. A person who's done PhD can actually teach a high school boy, middle school boy, a degree class student, a postgraduate degree student, and a PhD student. He can teach for every one of them. But a person who's done BSc can only teach people either below or up to that level, not beyond. So their sphere is restricted in terms of teaching. Like, very likewise, in spirituality also, to the extent that you have evolved, you can prepare other souls to that extent. Does it make sense? So to the extent that Sudha sister knows how to make different sweets, she can teach you. If you ask Sudha sister to make a sweet which she has not learned, she cannot teach you. First she has to learn and then she can teach you, not otherwise. Right? So like this. ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಭರತ್ ನಿಂಗೆ ಏನೋ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಇದೆಯಾ?
Good. I have one question, but it is not related to this topic. When we are meditating, we suppose that the source of divine light is already in my heart and it is attracting me from inward. So the one question came to me, like, what exactly is the source of divine light and what it is actually attracting? Is it attracting transmission or what it is attracting?
It is attracting your soul. Your soul is stuck at this level. It's functioning at this level. So the source of divine light within, which is already there, it is attracting me within. So that me is your own soul. It is attracting you within. Now what are you trying to do? The soul is getting attracted to go towards the center. That is the source of divine light. The center is the source of the divine light. So the center is actually attracting your soul back to its origin, from where the soul came from. So if you relate that to whatever we read now, we go nearest to the center and align to the center, but no merger is possible. That's what we read. But we are away from that to at the 23rd circle. So when we give the suggestion, the source of divine light is attracting me within, the source of divine light is within, the center is within. That is attracting you, the soul, the individual soul, which is now at the 23rd circle, back towards the center. That is the meaning of the suggestion that you give.
Once again, repeat that last line.
So the center is the source that is already there within us. But our individual soul is now at the 23rd circle, outermost circle. Of these 23 circles in this picture, no? You see the 23 circles here. We are in the outermost circle. We have to go towards the center. So we give the suggestion that the source of divine light. What is the source of the divine light? It is the center. That center is attracting you within. But where are you? If you are already in the center, then there is no question of any attraction. You are already there. The center is attracting you from where? Here you means your individual soul. That is getting attracted from the 23rd circle back to the center. That is the meaning of the supposition that you give.
But
So it is Jivatma to Paramatma.
Correct. Jivatma, which is stuck in the first point, is getting attracted to the Paramatma, which is the center.
But that center, suppose it is there somewhere, from there, mind, that is also inside me.
Exactly, inside only. Center is within you. It's in the back of the bone. If you just, what do you say, put your hand over the head, and then the point where the bone is the prominent, the lowest part of the bone where it is prominent, that is where the center is. It's called as occipital prominence. So if you just put your hand on the bone and feel the skull, as the skull goes down, you feel that suddenly the skull is going down and then there is a kind of a dip inside. It's like this. That point is what is called as the occipital prominence. That is where the center is. So you are going towards that center. So the center is within, not outside. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಇವನು ಹಿಂದ್ಗಡೆ ಕಟ್ ಮಾಡಿಸ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಅದನ್ನ ಶೇವ್ ಮಾಡಿಸ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ನೋಡ್ತಾನೆ ಎಲ್ಲಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಕರಡಿ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಡ್ತಾನೆ. ಆಯ್ತು. ಸೊ ಸೆಂಟರ್ is within you. That's why human being is an epitome of the universe. The center which is there in the universe is represented in the human body at the back of the head. So whatever is there in the universe is also there in us in a miniature form. That's why we say God made man godlike. In essence, God and man are one and the same because everything that is there in nature is there in a human being. The kshob in nature is in us as mind. The center in the macrocosm is there in us at the back of the head and the occipital prominence. The invisible motion that is there near the center is there in us as the heartbeat. When the heart beats, no, heart pumps, there is a pendulum-like movement. Very light pendulum-like movement. That is the invisible motion that is near the center. That is what is the visible form of the invisible motion near the center. So Babu just correlated the macrocosm with microcosm. So three things I told you. What are the three things I said just now?
The center is within us. Yes.
Okay. Then
What God made human godlike, and that micro
in the same
miniature
form
is
of God, in the same form as God. So whatever is there in the macrocosm is there in the microcosm.
okay.
So all the powers, all the forces, and all the energy is there within us. The kshob of the center, the creation of God, is related to the mind of man. The same force is working. And the invisible motion near the center is depicted in the pendular movement of the heart. So there it is invisible, but at the heart level, physical heart level, it is visible. So how to check that? You sit with a cross leg, one leg above the other, not like this, not like this, but like this. And then you relax. Then observe the legs. The legs will be moving. Have you seen that movement, pendular movement of the legs? If you have not tried it, you can try it out today and tell me on Monday. You have weekend to try it out, to see the pendular movement of your own legs. Because of the heartbeat, the legs will be moving like this. It's never still. It's always moving like this. That is because the pendular movement of the heart is because of the invisible motion at the center. The pendular movement at the legs is because of the pendular movement at the heart. So 3 levels. Okay. So nice homework, no? We will catch up on Monday then, continue with the ways and means. Okay. That's fine then. Have a nice day. Namaste.
Thank you, brother.